So welcoming to everybody. Welcome to the studio. What was that? Wait, say it again. No, we don't have any rice and beans. Who gave you the impression that I was gonna give you food, Belizeans? Whoa! Hey, 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 hey. All right. All right. All right. From that 5 seconds of me doing that, I already the sweat bullets. Tell about the living of the Caribbean boy. Ladies and gentlemen of the internet, of the earth, of the world, of the solar system. Welcome to the first episode of the Captain 501 broadcast with Olajuwon Cadle, aka Captain Cadle, aka me. Listen, right? This has been years in the making. I've had the idea. Hold on. Let's take it back from the beginning. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Olajuwon Cadle, aka Captain Cadle. I go by the online social media alias of Captain Cadle. I'm a 23-year-old aspiring filmmaker, content creator, social media, video creator. I'm also studying for a bachelor's degree at the University of Houston in Texas. And this is my podcast. Some of you may have already been following me on social media, and if you do, welcome back. To those of you who are new, I say welcome. This is a new avenue of mine of content creating that I've always wanted the chance to explore. I've had the idea for years now, since like 2021, 2022, to be honest. But the stars just have never aligned in the ways that have allowed me to have a podcast. But the opportunity presented itself this year, and of course I took advantage of it. And now, this is the thing. I know what you guys are thinking. Oh, wow, not another man with a podcast. And I get it, and I apologize. But I will say that there is something that differentiates me from other men, is that I'm a Belizean man. One may argue that that is potentially worse. But if you follow me on social media, you know that I, what's the name for it? I like to clone myself. If you follow me on my different social media platforms, you would know that I like to talk fool. So this podcast will be no different. But the thing is, even though I get online and I talk fool, what a lot of you don't know about me is that I'm quite smart. I don't present myself to be that way, but I do enjoy having open-ended, nuanced discussions about various topics. If you follow me, you would know that I have various passion projects of mine where I love to discuss topics of culture, history, Belize. Those are very big topics for me. Artistry. I love to bring artists onto my platform and give them a chance to, display themselves, display their artwork, because I believe in, showcasing our Belizean talent, showcasing our Belizean history, culture, showcasing Belize. That has always been a very big topic for me, and this podcast will also be no different. So let's get into the whole reason for why I wanted to create this podcast. Like I said, I always wanted to highlight Belize in any way, shape, or form that I can. But the problem with social media platforms like TikTok and Instagram and those is that it's only limited to about a minute to a minute and a half, 2 minutes the most. And you don't get to really dive deep into concepts, into, lessons, into knowledge. And I wanted to create this podcast to allow the space for not only you guys to learn, but for me to learn as well. I also wanted this to be a place where we can sort of bridge the gap between education and comedy. I'm inspired by people like Brittany Broski. I don't know if you guys know who that is. Quite literally one of the funniest people on social media. Let's see who else. Brittany Broski. No, but also people like Trevor Noah, who he's able to, find that unique blend between comedy and learning and discussing serious topics. So this podcast is going to be something like that, where we're going to have fun, we're going to, joke, we're going to laugh, we're going to enjoy the time being, but also we're going to get serious when we need to. I have a lot of topics that I want to discuss. I have a lot of topics that I'm eager to learn about Belize, about, the world at large, and I'm excited to take you guys on that journey. We're not going to start today because obviously this is the introduction episode where we're just getting to meet each other. We're getting to learn, feel out the podcast. This is just episode 1. But in the episodes to come, we're going to dive in. Okay. So speaking of the podcast itself, let's talk about the structure of the podcast. So today, July 30th, is the first episode. It's the premiere week. And we're going to be having new episodes every single Wednesday. And I believe that that's going to take us up until mid to late November. No. Because this is premiere week and because I am the most generous person on the planet, because you will never find a person on the planet Earth who is more generous than I am, I've decided I'm going to treat you guys to a double premiere. So what that means is that today, July 30th, we're going to be having the first episode, and this Friday, we're going to be having another episode. Now, let's get into the episodes themselves. What's going to happen is that aside from me sitting here talking to you guys in front of the camera in a room by myself, we're also going to be having guests on. The way that's going to work is that 1 week is going to be me solo by myself, and the other week is going to be with a guest. So being that this Friday is going to be a double premiere, we're going to have a guest episode this Friday. So the solo episode is today, the guest episode is this Friday. And then what's going to happen is that next week, Wednesday, is going to be solo with me again. And then after that, it's going to be guest, solo. You guys get it. And that's going to, like I said, run us up until mid to late November. Some of the episodes are going to be themed. I'm looking forward to that. You guys know that September is coming up. So some of those episodes are going to be themed. The guests that we're going to have on for some of those episodes, I'm excited for. October, again, Halloween is another themed episode. 19th is coming up too. That's going to be a good one. I'm excited for that. So yeah, we're going to have, like I said, we're going to have fun with this podcast. We're going to learn. We're going to get serious when we need to, but we're going to have fun. All right. And that is in summary, season 1 of the podcast. Now, when it comes to season 2, I do anticipate creating a season 2. As far as the logistics for that goes, as yet, I don't know. But I definitely do want to make a season 2, and I do anticipate that if I do that, it will be in the new year. So, we're going to take a break for the Christmas holiday, New Year, and we're going to be back in the new year. So, yeah. But for now, season 1 is in full effect. The majority of these videos that you're seeing are being pre-recorded as well. The reason for that being is that like I said, I'm studying in the University of Houston in Texas. And because of that, I don't live in Belize anymore. But I'm here for the summer. So I'm taking advantage of me being here for the summer. And we're pre-recording these episodes just to give it that sort of structure. And so that I know for a fact that, these episodes are going to be released on time. And I don't have to be scrambling to find episodes. Because I just like that structure. I just like having things in order that I don't have to worry about, finding guests or anything like that. Speaking of guests, the guest list that we got for this podcast, can I just say, every now and again, well, not every now and again, for quite a while, I experience imposter syndrome. And basically, what that means is that I don't grasp the extent of how well I'm known in this country. I mean, oftentimes when people see me, they're like, oh yeah, Captain Cadle, you're famous. I don't see myself as famous. I don't see myself as famous until I start to reap the benefits of being famous. Until I get to the airport and they allowed me to board the flight before everybody else because I'm Captain Cadle, then I'm famous. Until I get to go to my favorite restaurant and they tell me we're gonna clear out everybody from the restaurant simply because I want a fried chicken, then I'm famous. But until then, I'm not famous. I don't see myself as famous. I also don't like using the word fans. I don't know. I just don't like using the word fans, that I have fans. I prefer supporters, But anyways, I say all of that to say, when we were like finalizing the guest list of people who I would want to feature on the podcast, I made a list of people who we're mutuals with. We've exchanged likes on each other's posts every now and again. We've probably commented on each other's posts. But I never would have thought that they would have said yes. I kind of just asked them to be like, okay, well, at least I asked. That kind of way. But the amount of people who responded and were like, yeah, sure. I mean, of course, you're Captain Cadle. I actually can't. That's gonna make me spiral, and I don't want to think too much about that. But I also want to say too that that's because of you guys. That's because of the support that you guys have given to me over these past 5 years, a little bit over 5 years, because it's October of 2019 when I decided to join TikTok, and the support that I've been getting since then up until now, it's because of you guys that I'm able to reach out to people who I don't think I would have ever had a conversation with otherwise. But it's also because of you guys that I'm able to have an opportunity to create a podcast, that I'm able to, have a setup like this. And we're going to get into the setup in a bit. But yeah, I just want to thank you guys seriously for all of the support that you guys have given me over the years. And these projects, these are my way of giving back to you guys and saying thank you for the support that you all have given to me. And I just hope that me creating these videos, creating these content is enough in a way for me to say to thank you guys for all that you've done for me. But yeah. Okay, so let's get into the podcast setup. If you guys have been following me on Instagram and TikTok, which, by the way, you should be following me. If you're not, go ahead and follow me right now, Captain Cadle, on all platforms. But if you've been following me, you would have probably seen a little sneak peek of the studio. So this is the podcast studio. It's actually my childhood bedroom. So you may have remembered it with having all different kinds of things on the wall. We took everything off of the wall. We got rid of the bed. So now I sleep on the floor. I don't sleep on the floor, guys. I sleep in the closet. But we got rid of everything off of the walls. We repainted the entire room white. And it's a project that I've wanted to do for a while, but the podcast was sort of like the catalyst that made that happen. And I got the chance to really make this into like my own home studio. And the whole point was that I wanted it to feel at home, because it's quite literally my home. You guys get that, right? Okay, great. So let's get into the actual setup of the podcast, all right? So to start off, this is the desk. This is the main desk where everything, this is control center, all right? This is the CPU. This is the control tower where I'm, arranging everything, where I'm making sure everything takes place from. This is where it happens, all right? I have my computer over here, which, by the way, also featured on the table, we have my water bottle. I also have a rag here with me, and that is because we do live in Belize, and Belize can get quite hot, you know. As you guys saw from the introduction, the few movements made me start to boil. So I definitely need these at hand. So I have them right here on the podcast table as well. And I almost forgot to show you guys the best part. Wait, let me let me fix the mic a bit. A child. A child is what I am, ladies and gentlemen. So now getting into the background, first off we have my fishes, right? I showed them off on TikTok already. I also mentioned this too. I don't play about these fishes. I don't play about these fishes, and these fish don't play about me. I had also said that in the event that this house ever catches on fire, God forbid, but if this house ever catches on fire, I'm walking out with two things: my phone and this fish tank. My phone, this fish tank, and my hard drives. And maybe my computer. So four things really. But how are we gonna make it work? Beats me, but it's gonna work. Anyways, those are my fish. Above the fish tank, we have my clock that helps me tell time. We have the Belize license plate that I got from Golden Bay. We also have my class of 2023 graduation cap that I decorated when I graduated from UB. Over here, we have the map of Belize. Right up there, you can barely see it, but you can partially see it. It's a jaguar painting that I got from musician, singer, songwriter, performer extraordinaire Marilyn Vansing. Okay, she, aside from being a singer, she's also an artist, and she made that painting, and I got it from her a while back now, and I've kept it ever since, you know. But I really like this painting. What? Musician, songwriter, singer, performer extraordinaire slash artist Marilyn Vansing. There you go. But yeah, I really like that painting. Okay, so that's this half of the podcast studio. Going over onto this side now, we have the shelf, right? On the shelf, first off, we have these books. Now, I want you guys to ask me if I've read any of these books. Go ahead and ask. No. That's a lie, actually. Out of, okay, if there are 100 books up here right now, I've probably read, I'll say like 30, which isn't good. It's not great, right? And I bought some more books because I said that I'm going to read them, right? And now that I'm putting out on the podcast, I kind of have to do it. So at the end of this season, I want you guys to hold me accountable, okay? Ask me if I've read any of the books, and I have to read at least two. Maybe like finish one and start the next one. All right. But I'm holding myself accountable, and I want you guys to hold me accountable too. At the end of the season, I'm going to read at least one and be on to the second one. All right. So now above the books, we have my Funko Pops. My Funko Pops. This is a custom order that I got from the Funko Pop website. One of it is me. It's me. Right there, Elijah one. And then the second one is me in Captain Cadle form. They didn't have much designs to choose from, so I just had to go with what was available, right? I also have right next to it, I have a Captain America Funko Pop. The black Captain America. You know why? Because this is my Captain America. This is my Captain America. So yeah, I have him right here too. And also, Captain America is a pretty big thing for me because I don't know if you guys know this, but you probably don't. But Captain Cadle, Captain America. Yeah, the amount of people whose minds just blown. Okay, so on top of the Funko Pops, we have... So first off, we have my movie slate, my clapper, right? Then we also have my megaphone, which, again, if you guys follow me, you know that megaphone is a staple in the Captain Cadle realm, in the Captain Cadle universe, in the Captain Cadle cinematic universe, the CCCU. So yeah, the megaphone is a pretty big thing for me. Right next to the megaphone, we have my custom Coke bottles. I got these a few days ago when they did the Coke pop up where they printed your name on the Coke bottles. So I got one that says my name and then the other one that says Captain. You got what? What? They're offering free stuff and you think that I'm not gonna take it? Oh, okay. Do you see the problem is that you're just jealous because you don't have one. You're upset because you don't have a Coke bottle with your name on it. More or less too. And you're mad at me? Not get vexed with me. So those are my Coke bottles. On the shelf, right next to me, we also have my carnival beads and my whistle because, again, if you follow me, you know that carnival is a big thing for me, right? Captain Cadle is nothing without carnival, in the same way how carnival is nothing without Captain Cadle. Carnival comes around and everybody is immediately like, oh, where's Captain Cadle? Where's Captain Cadle? Guys, I'm here. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me just pause so that this truck can pass. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah, Carnival comes around and everybody's like, where is Captain Kilo? Where is Captain Kilo? Guys, I'm here. I'm here. Because Carnival wouldn't happen if I'm not there. You know what I mean? Right? There was a year back in when was it? It was 2023 when I had just moved to Texas. It was the first year ever that I had missed out on Carnival. And I made a vow. That ever since I would never miss another carnival again, right? Because it wasn't fair to the Belizean people. I could only imagine how boring that carnival was without me. And I can't do that to the Belizean people again. I won't do it to them again because aside from me being generous, I'm also a philanthropist. Am I using that word correctly? Give me a second. Someone who actively works to promote human welfare. Exactly. See, I'm literally the smartest person ever. But yeah, I'm a philanthropist. Therefore, I can't do that to the Belizean public ever again. I can't miss another carnival. I can't do that to you guys. So guess what? Carnival 2025? I will be there. All right. Right next to the carnival beads, we have my Destination 501 poster. Destination 501 is an independent film that I made over the summer of 2024 with two of my closest friends, Maximus Rangai and Kyran, who are also aspiring filmmakers. We made it over the summer of 2024 and it was released on January 17th of 2025. And you guys can find it on YouTube. So if you're watching on YouTube, just go right onto my profile, the Captain Caleb profile, and you will see it right there. Just go ahead and click the eye in the corner of the screen, or you can go ahead and search it up for yourself. Destination 501. It is sort of like my love letter to Belize. You know, I wanted to tell the Belizean story from my perspective, to just give it that sort of love that I believe it deserves. You know, and I also made it as a way to promote Belize because in Houston, I had a lot of people approach me because I normally walk around with the Belize flag tied to my backpack, and a lot of people would ask me, you know, where is that flag from? And I would have to explain Belize to them. So I thought instead of you know, sitting people down and giving them a lecture about Belize, why not just create a project that people can watch on their own and learn about Belize? So yeah, that is Destination 501. And that is to date, it's my biggest project that I've ever done independently. Okay, right above the film poster, we have Miss Beyonce Giselle Knowles Carter. We have the First Lady of Music. We have the Queen of the music industry. Argue with your non-existent Coke bottle. I have my Beyonce vinyls up there. We have Renaissance and we also have Cowboy Carter. And you best believe that when on May 29, 2026, when Act 3 drops, it's gonna go right up there as well. But for now, in between them, I have this plaque that my girlfriend Shade gave to me a while back. It says, famous Belizean TikTok influencer Captain Cadle. You guys are jealous, it's fine. On top of the Oh, you guys can't really see it. But on top of the vinyls, I have my diplomas up there. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see it. On Instagram and TikTok, you'll see it. I have my diplomas from Belizean Elementary School to SJC, Sixth Form, UB. I also have my Ministry of Education certificate that I got from PSC because I came in 21st in the country for PSC. Not to brag, but and also when I get my bachelor's degree in media production, it's gonna go right up there as well. It's gonna go right up there as well. We don't really have the space for it, but we'll make the space, all right? And yeah, that is sort of the podcast setup. Now, things are subject to change. Things may get added in, things may get removed, switched around, but for the most part, this is what the studio looks like. This is what the remainder, this is what the majority of episodes are going to look like. I had briefly mentioned this, right? But I started off on TikTok in October of 2019. I just wanted to give you guys my origin story, I started TikTok in October of 2019, and at the time when I started, I did it just because. At the time I heard about TikTok and I knew that it was the new form of Musical.ly. I had Musical.ly back in the day. I used to make videos on Musical.ly, but when TikTok came around, for some reason I didn't want to do it originally. I just thought that it was going to be another glorified version of Musical.ly, and I had already moved past my Musical.ly phase. I was also on YouTube at the time making YouTube videos, but they didn't get any views, So it was like one random day. I was in sixth form. It was my first semester of sixth form. I downloaded the app. I gave in. I downloaded the app and I made a video, right? I won't dare to ever show that video. Maybe I probably did, because I made some videos on YouTube a while back where I reacted to my old TikTok videos. Go watch those videos. It's probably in there. But at the time, it was just me fooling around with the app. And quite quickly, I started to gain a following. The following came out of nowhere, and it was also a following that I was never used to, because I had only been creating at the time, but I've never been receiving any traction, any attention, any audience. So when TikTok started to pop off, I was kind of forced to start taking it seriously. And then it was it was in February, around February, March of 2020, where I posted one video, again, just me kind of goofing off in my room, and the video got over 300,000 likes and over 1 million views. And to this day, it's still my video that has gotten the most attention. So it was then that I started to take it seriously. From there, everything kind of took off for me. I started getting brand deals and collaborations with different businesses in Belize, and my following started to grow even more. And it's just really been, I don't know how to describe the journey, to be honest. It's just, I've had fun. I will say that. When I started social media in general, I had always promised to myself that I would remain true to who I am. And when I say that, I mean that I wasn't going to get bombarded or taken away by the likes and the comments and the views and the attention, the following. I wanted to remain true to myself in the sense that I began social media to do what I love, which was content creating. I had always wanted an outlet to display my creative side in that way, and social media was the only thing that was, one, readily accessible, two, cost efficient, meaning that it cost nothing but to have a phone and internet access, and three, easy, in the sense that I could have just done it in my room. So social media has always been the outlet for me. I think now that I'm growing and that I'm maturing. I'm finding new ways of directing that creativity, the film, this podcast, you know. So I've slowly been transitioning out of out of only doing social media. I don't think that I will ever stop doing social media. Maybe one of these days when I'm as big as you know, Zendaya or or one of those big celebrities, then I'll have to make that transition. But for now, you know, I'm doing what I love. I'm creating content, and that has always been what I love to do. That has always been the forefront of me, of my driving, of my dedication to the craft, is that I simply love doing it, and therefore I'm gonna keep on doing it regardless if the audience was there or not, regardless if the likes and the views were there or not, regardless if the attention was there or not. I would still be making these videos. This episode of the Captain 501 broadcast is brought to you by the National Institute of Culture and History, NICH. NICH has been serving Belize for over 74 years as Belize's premier cultural institution dedicated to safeguarding and preserving culture and history. Whether it's divisions like the Institute of Archaeology or the Institute of Social and Cultural Research, NICH has created various outlets to maintain an open and collaborative approach to cultural heritage and arts promotion, management, and cultural safeguarding with its various stakeholders. You can learn more about the resources provided by NICH by visiting the Museum of Belize or the Museum of Belizean Art located in Belize City, the various houses of culture located countrywide, as well as visiting nichbelize.org or other websites such as the 501 Academy or Access 501. Earlier this year, in my previous semester at the University of Houston, I took a course in sociology. Now, this wasn't the first time that I had ever studied sociology, but it was the first time that I've sort of given it the attention that it deserved. And when I say that, I mean that the other times that I've studied sociology, it's never been a subject of interest. Meaning, I never found it interesting. I completed it because, you know, I was dedicated to getting a good grade in all my subjects, but it wasn't one of the subjects that I was looking forward to. You know, but this year, I don't know what shifted for me, but I finally took the interest in sociology that it deserved, right? I'm very interested. I'm almost obsessed with learning about culture, with learning about the way how we as human beings differ from each other based on our upbringing, based on our culture, based on where we live, based on, you know, our state of minds, whatever it is. And because of that, sociology became one of my favorite subjects this year. Crazy to say it, because if you had asked me that maybe 2 years ago, I would have never said sociology. But I used to always be the type of person that was very black and white. You know, mathematics was my favorite subject. I love arithmetic. I love things with logic. Things that were, you know, this plus this equals to this. Everything had to have a definitive answer. I didn't like subjects like literature or, you know, the ones that required you to go beyond the scope of, you know, what's there on the paper. What is that, like left-brained? I think I used to be very left-brained. Let me make sure of that, right? But as I grew older, as I matured, something just shifted, and I began to find interest in having open-ended conversations, having discussions about things, asking questions, you know, asking why is something this way as opposed to it being this way. I'm no longer, well, I still enjoy having things in black and white and being upfront, but I also love having discussions that require you to use the brain meats, you know, that requires you to have nuances, to have nuanced conversations, right? So anyways, I looked it up, right? Okay, this is from AI overview, by the way, and we're gonna have a discussion about AI in the episodes to come because I have thoughts about AI. But anyways, Google AI overview says the idea of left brain and right brain thinking, suggesting distinct personality and cognitive styles, is largely a myth. Oh, oh, oh. Okay. So what you're saying is that I'm dumb. So what you're saying is that I should just stop all of this right now. So what you're saying is that I should just quit the podcast and just turn off all the cameras. Is that what you're saying? Because that's what I'm hearing. Anyways, okay. The left hemisphere is traditionally associated with language, logic, and analytical thinking. Okay, see? There, that's what I mean, right? That used to be me. I used to prefer everything being, logical, everything being in black and white, everything being equal, everything being balanced, if that makes sense, right? While the right hemisphere is linked to creativity, spatial reasoning, and emotional processing, and that's what I've sort of tapped into in the recent years. That's why I believe that I found a new love in topics like sociology, right? Sociology is also such an amazing subject when you really dive into it, when you really pay attention. Sociology is such an interesting subject, right? I learned that there's this course called the sociology of food, where it basically talks about how food is such a pivotal part of how we as humans socialize with each other, like aside from it being a necessity for life. When you think about how when a friend comes in from out of state or out of district or from another country, right? The first thing that you suggest is, oh, let's go out for food, because it's the way of socialization, right? When you get along with your friends, right? Like, for example, when I go out with my friends, every single time we ask, okay, we're going out for food, because it's a way of socializing. Another thing that I'm learning too right now, I'm taking a course in dance over this summer, and there's a branch of sociology called the sociology of dance, where it basically says how, again, dancing is another form of socialization. When you go out to the clubs, when you have a party, right? How, oh, and this, oh, say, oh, no, get me started. Oh, no, get me started, and now I'm on a roll, right? My cousin came in from the States the other day, and we went out to one of the nightclubs, right? And everybody was just standing around, right? Everybody was just standing. You know how Belizean culture is, where everybody's just standing. And he was asking me, he's like, why is everybody just standing? And I just like constituted it to being, am I using that word right? Constituted, meaning be part of a whole. I am the smartest person ever. Anyways, so I constituted it to it being that it's just Belizean culture, that it's just our culture, that everybody just stands up on the side when the music is playing and that nobody dances, right? No. Me and my friend group, we have this thing where we say the party not start till we get there, because we no care. If the music is good, we go up on the dance floor. And as a result, when people see us on the dance floor, then they join us on the dance floor, right? And I learned that in itself is a form of sociology, because music connects us as people, but dancing, when you see somebody dancing, it sort of gives that implicit go ahead that, okay, it's socially acceptable for us to dance, which is why people stand off on the side when nobody's dancing. But the minute that somebody gets up and dance, it gives that go ahead that, okay, it's socially acceptable now for all of us to dance. I could go on for hours, right? On a need to stop me. You need to stop me, because I will go on for hours. Anyways, I say all of that to say, right, that again, that is another reason, another inspiration for why I wanted to create this podcast. Because, we can't really get into these types of discussions on TikTok, on Instagram, but we can do it here in these 45-minute to an hour long episodes. We can have these discussions here, and we can really get into it, and we can both learn in the process. So yeah, I blabbed for, what was that, like, it felt like 7 minutes just to say that was another inspiration for the podcast. Okay, so now let's talk about who is welcome to watch this podcast, right? Obviously, it's a free platform wherever it is that you get your podcast from. Anybody's allowed to watch the podcast. We don't discriminate over here. Hey, DEI. That's the motto of our podcast, DEI. All right? But there are some people who I definitely want to give special seats to, who have special seats in the podcast studio. So let's begin. People who are welcomed. First of all, Belizeans. Kind of goes without saying, doesn't really need much explanation. So please welcome in the Belizeans. Go ahead, have a seat right there. Right there in the front. Yes, thank you. All right, good. Up next, we have Belizean Americans. Did I mention that I was not born in Belize? I was born in Los Angeles, California, on April 5th, 2002. Did I mention that? I don't know if I did. But because of that, I am a Belizean American. So, of course, I can't discriminate against my other Belizean Americans. Please welcome in the Belizean Americans. Go ahead, right there. Right there next to the Belizeans. Yes, thank you very much. Yes. Put the passport away. I know you have a passport and you don't need visa. Yes, that's fine. Put the passport away. Thank you. All right. Up next, people who love Captain Cadle. This goes for people who follow me across my different social media accounts: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Bonus points if you follow me across all. You get special preference. Yeah, you get to you get to board the Captain Cadle Airlines first before the rest of the before the rest of the crowd. Okay, if you follow me on all my social media accounts. Okay, so welcome in all the people who love Captain Cadle. Woo! Go ahead, right there. Yes, thank you. All right. Okay, up next, people who love Beyonce. So you thought that I was going to have a podcast and not talk about Beyonce? You thought that I was going to have a 45-minute to 1 hour podcast episode every Wednesday and not bring up Beyonce? You're right. Also, I have to mention this because there are some people in this earth who get upset at the name Beyonce. They get triggered at the mention of Beyonce. So, I just want to preface this by saying that we're gonna be discussing Beyonce. And if that's a breaking point for you, then I don't know what to say about that. Okay, the Beehive. Welcome into the Beehive. Yes. Woo! All right. Wait, the front row is actually filled. Could you just start filling in the second row? Yeah, just all the way to the end. All the way to the end. All right. Yeah. Thank you. Woo! Okay. Up next, Five Nights at Freddy's. Hey. Hey. If you get it, you get it. Okay? If you get it, you get it. Five Nights at Freddy's, FNAF fans. If you get FNAF, you're welcomed here. You're welcomed. I could talk about FNAF for hours on end. The lore. Oh, because then Cassidy is actually inside Golden Freddy, but then Golden Freddy has two people inside of it, right? But then the Bite of 87, not to be confused with the Bite of 83, and then Springtrap is actually worse. Please welcome into the FNAF fans. Yes, right next to the Beehive. Yep. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Up next, Marvel fans. Again, this one also goes without saying. Marvel is a pretty big thing for me. Captain America, and the day that Marvel decides that they're ready for their first Caribbean superhero, and when I say Caribbean, I mean Caribbean. I don't mean that they're born to a second generation Caribbean person in New York and they don't know anything about the Caribbean and they have this half accent thing. No. I mean, they're from the Caribbean, they grew up in the Caribbean, they speak one of the languages or the dialects of the Caribbean. When you're ready for that, Marvel, you call me. When you're ready for that, Kevin Feige, you give me a call. Kevin Feige, you know where to find me. Kevin Feige, I know you're watching. Kevin Feige, I know you're watching. The concept of Kevin Feige watching this podcast out of doing anything else, really. The concept of Kevin Feige being able to do anything else but watching this. So welcome into the Marvel fans. Go ahead and have a seat next to the Five Nights at Freddy's fans. Yep. Woo! Thank you. Okay, and lastly, people who have rhythm. Don't really have to explain this one. In fact, I'm not going to. Please welcome into the people who have rhythm. Yes. All right. Yes. Right next. So welcome into everybody. Welcome to the studio. What was that? Wait, say it again. No, we don't have any rice and beans. Who gave you the impression that I was gonna give you food, Belizeans? This is the problem, right? Why? This episode of the Captain 501 broadcast is brought to you by Ebotang Festival. The National Celebrations Commission, in collaboration with the Belize City Council and the National Institute of Culture and History, presents the Ebotang Festival 2025. Happening this Emancipation Day, August 1st, 2025, at the Isaiah Mortar Square in Belize City from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m., there will be cultural displays, handicrafts, a free kids zone, live entertainment, historical train ride tour, and much more. Tickets are $5 for kids and $10 for adults. Enjoy a full day of music, food, drinks, interactive cultural and educational booths, and much more at Ebotang Festival 2025, happening this Emancipation Day, August 1st, 2025, from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. I wanted to introduce a new segment to the podcast, right? That's called Controversial Topics. The whole point of controversial topics stem from the idea that, I'm not a controversial person. I've never been in the topic of any controversy, and I don't anticipate myself to be in the topic of any controversy. I mean, all that I do is get on the internet and talk fool. So, I don't really anticipate that happening. But, I'm not going to be saying anything that's obviously controversial, but I'm going to be saying things that's a little bit risky, right? Okay, so to start off, this is my first controversial opinion of the podcast. We need to bring back concerts ending at 2 a.m. Bring back concerts ending, finishing, we're walking out of the venue at 2 a.m. Now, this might be just me getting old. I don't know. I'm 23. I graduated from high school 5 years ago. 6 years ago. 6 years ago. And I graduated from elementary school 10 years ago. I need a minute. Hold on. Give me a minute. I took a minute because, yeah, I needed a minute just to process that. Anyways, as I was saying, yeah, we need to bring back concerts ending at 2 a.m. There is no reason that I should be standing up outside waiting for my favorite artist to come on stage, and it's 5 in the morning. I shouldn't be seeing the sun rising in the east and my artist still hasn't taken the stage yet. We need to bring back concerts ending at 2 a.m. I may even push for 3, but 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, I can't do that. I can't do that. I mean, I will if I have to, but no. We need to take a stand against that, all right? Because standing up from like 10, 11 o'clock the night before to 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, what are we doing? Really, what are we doing? And I mean, you don't really feel it because of the dance, but still, no, there's no justification for it. No try can't justify it. We need to bring back concerts ending at 2 a.m. And that's my controversial opinion for the day. That's my controversial topic. You know, I had this idea where I said that I was going to read my astrological breakdown on the first episode of the podcast, but I think that I've bombarded you guys with enough yapping already. So I'm going to save that for maybe the second episode. I think this has been fun. I think this has been a fun first episode. A very well informed first episode, I might say. I think we covered a lot. All right. I don't know what time I started, but it's 4:03 now. So yeah, however long that is. Regardless, also taking into consideration the times that I had to cut out stuff because I said things that I didn't want to leave in. So with that, I'm gonna let you guys go for today. Look out for the first guest episode happening this Friday, a part of the double premiere for our podcast premiere week. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you've made it to the end, I want you to go and comment under the YouTube video. If you're watching on YouTube, go and comment something about Lychee and Beyonce. I don't know. You guys be creative with it. But I'll know. And check us out on all different platforms that you get your podcast from. Be sure to rate us 5 stars. We really appreciate it. It's me one. Follow me at Captain Cadle on all my different social media platforms: Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, CaptainCadle on all platforms. And I will see you back again next week at this very same desk, back again for another solo episode of the Captain 501 broadcast. All right, we'll see you guys next time. Deuces.